following program is classified G. It's suitable for all ages.
A very good evening and thank you for joining with us on another episode on Business Best, and this is a platform where we showcase the best in the business, and we will be introducing to you people who have excelled in their particular field in order to showcase their latest developments in their respective industry. Now today on the show, this program will be useful to everyone who wants to make their spaces a little bit connected with nature, or maybe looking a little bit greener. So with that introduction, I would like to introduce to Manjula Ratnasekera, who is the Managing Director and the Head of Design and Development at Thumbelina Gardens. Manjula, thank you very much for taking the time to join me on the show today.
Thank you very much, Shanali. Thank you for inviting me for this event, this show actually.
Yeah, to start off our discussion, Manjula, now I went through your profile and the business profiles, and you've done a lot of projects, major projects. So why don't you tell our viewers a little bit about what Thumbelina Gardens is all about?
So Thumbelina Gardens itself is a one-stop shop for the landscaping. So when I say landscaping, it's all about maintenance, tree supplying, landscape designing, and landscape developing. So it's like, you get the whole landscape in one business, one shop.
I think you will have to elaborate a little bit about that, because when you consider landscaping, a lot of people don't know what landscaping is exactly.
Yes, landscaping is all about you use trees and plants, foliage and floral plants and grass items. We commonly use Malaysian grass, the Australian grass, certain grass types. So we use all these plants, trees and grass together, and we develop a nice design for your house or your factory or your hotel. So that's basically landscaping.
Right. Something that really intrigued me was that you also mentioned prior that you're in love with nature and you would also try your level best to save a tree. But some people, when they consider landscaping, the first thing they would say is clear the land, cut off all the trees. So what are the services that Thumbelina Gardens is offering in your business of landscaping?
Shanali, the thing is people tend to call us to do a landscaping after building the house, or after doing the construction of a hotel, or after doing a construction of a factory. So we as landscaping designing company or a developing company, we tell the client, call us with the architect. So we will not allow them to cut trees to do the building. We will have a discussion with the architect and try to save that tree and do the building accordingly. Otherwise, we have other option of you can root ball and relocate the plant, any tree. So you don't need to cut down the trees. So we as service, we do the initial designing, and we describe about how we are going to do the landscape and what will be the end design, end product. So that's the landscaping part we do.
So you do the designing part as well?
I do designing part as well. Yes.
Right. Now a little bit about you, Manjula. Now when I went through your profile also, you were first involved in the IT sector, the corporate world and whatnot, and now all of a sudden you're doing business. What made you want to make that shift?
Shanali, I wanted to work for a corporate sector to get that feeling, and the other thing is I'm a person who always wanted to do something on my own. So that really made me to move away from the corporate sector and start my own business. Thumbelina is one of the business where I have two other businesses is running which is about 15 years old. So but I'm more focusing on the landscaping because that's something I really like. I have the passion in that to make somebody's happy.
All right. So what's the best part of being in the landscape business for you?
Especially after doing a project and to see the client happy. That's the best part of it.
Also, again, Manjula, now you said that your service please call you when you're structuring the construction for your building as well, along with your architect. So what are the mistakes that our people are doing when doing landscaping?
First of all, when the architect designed the building, so they are doing the pre-plan of the landscaping part. So they know exactly what type of a plant or the tree should come into that particular land or a house area. So we as landscapers, we know the design, the tree that he's designing or she's designing, we know exactly what kind of plant or tree we should put. So that is the main reason we are asking the client or the project manager to contact us along with the architect to do the designing part.
Right. Now you've been in this landscaping business for quite some time now, and what were the main challenges that you faced, especially working here in Sri Lanka?
One thing is Sri Lanka doesn't have a landscape architect body, professional body, architects, they have their own professional body, the engineers, they do. Landscaping itself as a designer or an architect, we don't have a professional body. So that is a negative thing for Sri Lanka, because the foreign clients and mainly the projects that headed by the foreign clients, we don't have sort of a certificate to show that there's a landscape body in Sri Lanka. So all the people who are doing the plant supplying or the horticulture, they also come as landscapers in front of whatever the project. So the challenge that we are facing, if my supplier is coming as a landscape designer or a developer, the cost factor is a challenge for us, because they are giving a lesser price, we are giving with the designing and the developing price, our price is high. Other thing is skilled labor. In Sri Lanka, landscape skilled labor or gardening skilled labor, they get the training from us, work for about 1 or 2 years, and they move and they start their own landscaping company. The next factor is the client, the understanding about landscaping. They feel like this is like icing on a cake. We do the project, they expect us to get the flowers immediately, or get the greenery immediately, which is, it's with the nature we are working, right? So we need to have that timing, and we need to, some people don't understand at all, so some really do. So those are the 3 challenges currently we have.
Is it always necessary to have a huge plot of land to do your landscaping?
Not really, Shanali. Even a small area like a courtyard or a balcony, you can make it a wonderful landscape garden. Even at a courtyard, you can have about 10 to 20 feet height, big tree, and few shrubs. You can have a beautiful garden there. You don't need to.
But some people might think, they built their house, they expanded their house, now we don't have much space. So what can they do? Some might say, yes, I do want a huge tree, but then there's a wall there. The roots can damage the wall or the house. So what's your advice on that? So
certain plants, trees, we know exactly what are the plants that, giving less trouble to the client. Less maintained plants, but with less root systems. So that's why we ask the client or them to call us and get the advice. So I personally give free advices, because I want people to know about what is landscaping and what the service that we give. So to answer your question, we have solutions for that. We do have solutions.
All right. So tell me a little bit about your plant nursery. So you all provide the plants as well when doing your landscaping?
So we do have a landscape, for the landscape design developments, we have a nursery to collect the plants. My company, we have about 8 to 10 suppliers around Sri Lanka. So what we do is we go and choose the right product for the project that we are doing. So we don't have a nursery to sell plants. So we have a supplier. Whenever the project comes, we bring the plant to the nursery, our nursery, we groom it, and then only we put it in the site.
All right, Manjula. So tell me a little bit about the support that you need to do this landscaping business.
I'm actually trying to get to see how we can push the government authorities to make a landscape architect body. And other thing is, we need to stop this example. If the client wants a landscape designer, if I'm quoting and another person is quoting, but they don't have experience, they are doing for the sake of the pricing. So we don't get the job. The other person will get the job, but there's a credibility issue. Then the client says Sri Lanka doesn't have proper landscape designers or developers. So they tend to go to the suppliers and they tend to do the work on their own. So that's the challenges we have. So that's the plan that I also have, to make this landscape industry very professional and go with ethics, so which is lacking. So yeah, that's it.
Okay, we are going into a short commercial break. You're watching Business Best and we will be back soon. Welcome back to Business Best, and we are in discussion with Manjula Ratnasekera, who is the Managing Director of Thumbelina Gardens. Now, I think in the first segment, Manjula, you gave us a little bit about an idea about what Thumbelina Gardens is all about. And now what I want to know is, who are the people who are actually involved in this landscaping business?
Mainly the client, and then the architect, and then the landscape designer, developer, and the suppliers. Those are the elements that we have when it comes to landscape developing.
So is there a difference between the landscape designer and the landscape architect?
It's mainly when it comes to architect, the architect also it's part of designing. Actually, the landscape designer comes under architect. So in Sri Lanka, we don't use as landscape designing. We use as landscape architect. My knowledge, I think I say landscape architect and designing are two different things, because designer can come with the experience. So what sort of plants or the trees that they put, the designer will know exactly for which weather or the climate that particular plant will go ahead. So I see a difference, but I think it's landscape designer and the architect both in the same segment.
So the the landscape designer is the person who is the expert in the plants, is it?
Yes, that's my view.
Why is it important to know about plants before doing your landscape?
Shanali, certain countries, if you take Maldives, the plants that we grow in Maldives, even with the sea breeze and all, it doesn't match in Sri Lanka. So if you plant the same plant in Port City, it will not go along, because then that's the experience we are coming up. And if you take the borderline, certain plants that will not, the grass types that will not match with the sea breeze. So that is coming with the experience. We can't just for the sake of putting a plant by saying that it's beautiful, we can't put that exact plant into the place where we feel like it will come up nice. So with the experience, the person knows, okay, this particular plant will take 15 years to grow 10 feet height, and this is the character of the plant. So we know exactly, if I put this plant, next 10 years this plant will be the same, whatever the height. So that is why we say an experienced designer.
All right. So what are the projects that you've been working on, Manjula? This is actually an interesting question, because I've already seen your projects and it's amazing. And sometimes I didn't even know that Thumbelina Gardens was the one who did the landscape for these huge buildings and even hotels. So tell our audience a little bit about it.
Yeah. So currently we just completed designing Marina Square, that is in Kotehena. And we are working with Port City, China Harbour, in doing some projects there as well, and I'm in the process of designing 180 villas inside Port City. And we do some residential projects as well as a nice Walau in Kotukode area. And the other projects are we have done major projects. We did design and the development hotel Riu in Nahungalla, and part of Shangri-La where the Aragalia area was like, actually designed by, the lawn was designed by me, like, there's in the company. So yeah, those are the current projects that we do.
That's amazing. So what's the current project that y'all are working on right now?
Like I said, like in the Port City, we are doing some work there and doing some residential projects. And with the current situation, Shenal, is very difficult to like, expect like, more into landscape with the current situation. But we do get projects, especially apartment complex. Certain projects I can't name, but we have about like 3-4 projects going on now.
Right, that's exactly what I was going to ask you next. What were the challenges that you had to face or the drawbacks with this current situation here in Sri Lanka? Especially
to when you do the budgeting, it's very difficult to like rely on a budget these days. When it comes to like a project like what do you call condominiums, they take about 3 to 4 months to like come back to us after the budgeting. So even though we put the budget dates, they get the the company approves the amount, and suddenly they come and ask us to like start the work. Then with the current situation, we also don't know like how we can like put the margins for the transports and like that kind of thing. Even the labor prices are very high. So the challenges are the budgeting, and number 2 is we can't ask people to like come and do a landscape and get my service and to spend this amount of money. So I'm trying to like accommodate with the thinking of their side. For an example, like if somebody is building a house, I feel them. So they are putting all their money into that. So I tell them like, you don't need to like, do expensive landscape, but you can do a landscape to make your house beautiful, and later on you can like, add on plants. So that kind of advice I give. What was the most challenging project that you had to do? The most challenging project was Riu, Ahungalla. There were 2 owners involved, and they gave me the freedom, but that was my first project when it comes to hotel industry, and it was beside the beach area. So certain plants I had to try out. So I had to put few plants and work for about 3 to 4 months to see like how the plant works to the climate that area. And other thing was it's a foreign investment, foreign management to satisfy them. It wasn't easy. So I had to like work closely. I was living there for 6 months in Ahungalla to finish that job. That was the most challenging. Was it challenging for you to satisfy the customer's need but also be practical at the same time? Have you had instances like that? Same project. We had issues with the village people. They were not allowing the construction to like happen in smooth, because but I, as a network person, I always like go to them, and like I went to them and I just had a chat with them. I took all the villages to do the work with me. So I did the daily payment, and like I managed to like get them into my side to get this work done. So they actually supported me when it comes to the landscape project there. All right. So what are the other aspects that people need to keep in mind when considering landscape, maybe to your office premises, or maybe your house, or maybe an apartment, or something like that? First, they need to like fix up their budget, because when they come to us, they come with a very low budget. So we, as a business entity, we also don't like want to give. We want to give a quality job for a reasonable price. So when they come saying that you give a budget and the price is high, they just like back off. They don't like even they don't call. But we are ready to like come with a different plan with a lesser price. I always say, give a budget. If not, I will give 2 options. The one is the perfect one with a high price, but I give a lower price by quality product as well.
All right. So, have you ever received negative comments for your work?
Up to now, no. But certain clients, they complain at the beginning, saying that there's no leaves, there's no flowers coming up, there's some water retaining. But after certain times, we do the repairs after 1 or 2 months. So after about a year or so, they come and they call and say Manjula garden looks beautiful. So up to now there is no. But I hope to keep that the quality and the positive comments future as well.
All right. So Manjula, tell me a little bit about your team now. What's the support you got from your company and your staff?
The main part of the company, I always treat my skilled labor as my own the management team, because if I don't have them, if they don't have the respect for the plant, the landscape, the end product will not be perfect. So currently they are giving a brilliant support. And I should mention my wife Uparna. She's the part of the admin side of the company. So she's doing all the back office work. So I'm the operational side work. So other than that, my supervisors, my suppliers, they're all giving me the 100% support to do my projects.
All right. So I think we are reaching the end of our program as well. So as my last question, what is your final vision, Manjula?
I want to be a global recognized landscape designer and architect. And I want to impress the younger generation to be a qualified landscape designers, and somehow push the authorities to get this landscape professional body up. So that's my final vision.
All right. Thank you, Manjula. Then this is all the time we have on the show as well. And I wish you all the very best as well.
Thank you very much, Ali. Thanks a lot.
And that was our episode on this week's Business Best. We will be back again next week with another product or service that would interest you. Just in case you can watch us on air, you can always rewatch by catching us on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Derana English. I'm Suzanne Shinali. Stay safe and have a good night.